Hey guys, welcome to Christians Concerned for the U.S. Christmas is finally over. We were going to the New Year's. New Year's is coming right around the corner. We have a new year coming. Wow, what a year we are coming out of. But how you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Great, wonderful.
Wonderful time.
I was not able to share it with you guys. You might have to go on the page and find it because my phone is moving extra slow right now for me doing work online. So it's actually moving grandma slow. So I did good get it the way it is. So I'm working with it. I got it shared at a few places. I've not even got to X and share that yet. So if you see it on the page, just look for it on the page and try to share it if you can. But guys, I do ask every single person that is seeing this video, we do ask you to share the video. That's how it gets out to people. If you don't share it or like it, it don't go out. And if you're watching us on YouTube, I do ask you to subscribe to the channel, and I ask you to give us a thumbs up because as you are active online, it actually moves it in algorithm and causes it to be shared to other people. I mean, if the internet doesn't see you sharing it, it don't think it's important, so it don't share it either. So as long as you subscribe, push the bell on YouTube, or if you're watching this on Rumble, please share it and let people know about us because it really gets the word out and helps us to get this channel bigger. We love to see this channel get bigger. If you guys could just share it, we'd appreciate it. Praise God. So what did you guys do for Christmas? What'd you do for Christmas, Mike?
Stayed around the house most of the time, and then stayed on the podcast, sharing some information out. That's about it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Ed, what'd you do, man?
Well, I was a little bit like Mike there. We were elder kids call. A lot of them are away. But we were ministering about 2 to 3 hours there. We had a friend who was in really some severe physical condition, and we ministered about 2 or 3 hours. We were praying with him, talking to him, and it was just a good part of the morning. We had a little bit of breakfast then before we knew it was dinner time. But it was really made God moved through that whole thing. It really did something. So that was a big encouragement for that day. You know, it was better than any Christmas present. So anyhow, that's what we were doing that day.
Amen. Ken, what'd you do, man?
Oh, no, same thing. I just sat around the house and watched the basketball. I watched basketball most of the day and ate a good dinner, and that was about it. Talk to the grandkids,
That's awesome.
That, so.
Christmas Eve, we had all the family over. I had my parents, I had my wife's parents, and all of her family. And we had her brother. We've not saw my wife's brother in a very long time, and he is doing better, and he is hanging out with the family. So it's a prayer answered. Praise God. So we got to see him. He's actually been to both family events, so it's been good. And got to all my kids got together. I love to see all my kids come in and spend time, and my kids know, family get-togethers is really big for me. So if you don't see me all the time, come to a family get together. That's how I look at it. It's really important. So I kind of encourage people, even on my programs, memories are everything.
Right.
And if you don't make memories, you're gonna have problems because when you get older, that's all you're gonna have. You're gonna have memories, and if you never made any, what you gonna do, right? So make memories. There are some people that works all the time, or they're so busy doing certain things that they don't make any memories with their family. And then when they get older, they're like, "What do you do?" "Oh, I was in front of the lawnmower all day long, but that's the only thing I could remember." I mean, what I'm saying is make memories with your family because they are precious. We don't know how long we have on this earth, so make those memories. We had a podcaster that was kind of like the grandfather to all the podcasters. He was the very first one that started in the early 2000s. He passed away. He went to bed one night and didn't wake up. He I think he had a massive heart attack upstairs. His friends had to climb 3 stories to find him and found him in there. He had he wasn't married. He lived all alone, and he had nobody to check on him. So his friend supposed to went over and did a podcast thing with him. and found him up there, and the cops had to bust in and found him there, massive heart attack. And just let you know, you know, sometimes the ones that you love, and you never know how long you have. I mean, this guy was only 51. 51. So, like I said, you never know how long you're gonna have. So, make those memories. So, Ed, I think you're plumb away from 51. So,
Yeah, you're on the other side of it. You're just a baby yet.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
you're pretty well off there. You've had a lot of memories, bro.
That I do. I'll tell you. And really, some are good and are really good, and others are, they're kind of mixed. But we had on New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve. I saw a couple of the grandkids we don't see usually, my grandson and a couple greats, and they were just close to it. They just hung around us and really showed they cared, and it was just it was a real blessing because it was better than we were ever treated. I think by our family. And we don't get to see a lot of our family. We have a lot of 19 greats and 9 grands and 3 kids. And our oldest boy just turned 63. And my youngest girl, she'll be 56. And my other daughter will be 60 in March. And the kids are all grown. And it's just so hard to recognize how, time flies by so quickly. We could be a great grandparents. Because our oldest great, I'll be 19 here in July, and I just can't believe it. That's one thing I can't come to grips with, age, because I feel like we're young and everything, and I just see things that was back then. I just can't picture this 82-year-old almost. I can't relate because I believe we're young for so long. I'm unable to. When I see older people, I can't relate to. I talk with them, get along fine, older young people, but I just can't put myself in that thing. I just can't accept it. And I thank God for it because I try to, keep active because my schedule sometimes pushes me, and I think to myself, I said, man, look at your age. Some people would say that, but I just keep going. I mean, I've just been used to it all my life, and it's been a way of life being active. So, but you're right about that. About the memories and what you can think back on. That's one thing I'll say about my wife and I. She never worked. We had 3 kids, and she never worked during that time until after they, were of age. And we did things with them, with scouts, everything. We took them places. We had a great past, but we weren't the best parents, the best anything. But yet they did pretty good, and they honor us for it, and they say things to us, and it feels good, when they look up to you and respect you and things. Because I wasn't perfect in any way, shape, or form in what we did. But the greatest thing I think the worst thing a minister can do is get so involved in ministry that they don't have time for the family. I know even Billy Graham said that, wife raised. Now, I did that to a degree too because I've been in ministry before 1970. I was ordained in 75, and I did ministry before that even, and that's way back. And my kids will say that sometimes. They say because one church we were in, we were kind of taking care of business because it was like the blackboard jungle. There's a bunch of hoodlum kids come in from everywhere, street kids and all, and they would throw a punch at you. We were dealing with those type of situations, but the kids turned out well. My daughters are on fire for Christ. I know the boy's coming back to the Lord. Because he's always he did, but he kind of got away. But we're seeing the fruit of it, and I thank God for it. That's probably the most precious thing you can own in your life that you can lay hold of because it influences a bit on others.
Amen. I do want to tell people we do have the hoodies in. I'm wearing one tonight. Praise God. It's a nice one. So if you'd like one, it's $50. Ashley covers shipping and handling. That's everything. There's no shipping added to it. That's the price, straight price. That's all in one deal. And that's still, I'm still not making much off of that. Tell you the honest truth. I'm just making maybe a couple of dollars, but it's just to get it out, to get the word out. And it's beautiful because on the back has a lot of cross ministries on the back, so you're able to see that. And I am going to be able to make T-shirts like this also. I do have some things for the T-shirts too. I just don't got the T-shirts yet. So if one of you guys would like the T-shirt, I think they're like 25. You can say, "Hey, Stan, I'd like to have a T-shirt." And the white color is the best. It shows up best on white. The black, I think it would kindly erase some of it. You won't be able to see all of it. So I'd say the white T-shirts. I have actually had different um, designs that was better for different colors. I have this one design with a lot of cross ministry. It's good for a black T-shirt. This and here is good for a white. So I would say a white T-shirt for this, and that might be something I'm going to be looking for. But this is an awesome T-shirt. I think I might let them go for 25 or something like that. I do have it, but the T-shirts won't have it on the back though. This only the hoodies have a lot of cross ministry on the back. That's the only ones that has that at this time right now as I have what I have right now. So that's what's going on. But anyway, this here will be $50. It is shipping and handling. That's including shipping and handling right now, if it all works out. And I will get it shipped to you. I think that code will go to the Cash App. If you're sending me a Cash App, just tell me your size and your address where I can get it to you. So, and if you're doing it Cash App or message me, however you want to do it, but I will get it out to you. We've had different ones. We had Christians Concern for the U.S. We've had the early morning show. We have that. The early morning shows are still online. You can still watch them. And I might do one every so often when I'm able to come out here in the morning. So I don't know whether all the guys will be on there for the early morning, but I might still do one here and there. But this is an awesome design. This is the one that I actually came up with. I actually got everybody to vote for this one. Everybody voted for this design that watched the show. So everybody gave us a thumbs up because we had a few of them, but they liked this one the best. So, but anyway, I got one lady that's already wanting one. I've already got hers pulled out ready for it. And maybe a few more if you guys are interested. But anyway, I just thought I'd let you guys know about that. And we're going to get back to the show here. So, Ken, what do you think is going on out there, man, in the political world?
Well, there's a lot of rhetoric going on in the political world.
Yep.
And one of the things I've been taking a look at that doesn't get much traction is the deaths of Christians around the world, and especially in Nigeria. And I was reading an article by Reuters, right? Reuters is supposed to be the big news feed organization that gathers all this information and disseminates it out to the different news organizations. One of them, AP and Reuters are the two. But anyway, and the way that they finagle the numbers of them getting killed, the number of people killed in Nigeria is just amazing. They didn't say anything about how bad it is to kill Christians or kill anybody. They always got this little twist in it to be negative with Donald Trump because, of course, he sent some missiles into the Islamic group that's been killing people in Nigeria. The president of Nigeria had got on and said that they had killed 20,000 or so or whatever it was this year, Christians. The Muslims are I know we on here and they may cut you off, Stan, but the truth of the matter is that around the world, the murderers around the world are Muslim organizations. And they'll put a spin on it saying that they're radical Muslim this and extremist Muslim. They'll put something in front of Muslim. But if you read the Quran and if you read their writings that go with the Quran, their policies and their attitudes towards anybody that's not a Muslim, then you know that all of us should be dead because that's the way how they feel and how they look about it. If you're not a Muslim, they say that openly. They don't hide the fact that if you don't go to Allah, then you're infidel. And, you shouldn't be on this earth. That's just a fact. And they say it all the time. But, it just amazes me of how hidden this has been going on for, thousands of years and how hidden this is. And we need to pray more for our brothers and sisters in China and in Thailand, especially in Asia. In Asia, they got Muslim groups over there that are been killing since early 2000s, if I remember correctly. Because I remember some stories back then of them wiping out Christians over in Philippines and in different other countries over there as well.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, the thing with Muslims, you know, just like we as Christians, if we obey and walk in what the word tells us to do, we're radical people. You know, they think we're crazy. We're extremists.
Right.
And they'll call Muslims, just like you're saying there, Ken, they call them extremist Muslims. But all they are doing is just obeying what the Quran teaches. And all we're
Right.
doing is obeying what the word of God teaches. But you're always an extremist. Like we're an extremist the right way, because we're peculiar people and odd people. We came out from amongst them. Now they're an extremist another way, and their way is not the good way. So you've
Yeah.
got good extremists and bad extremists, and that's
So-
really where.
When your religion is telling you to murder people
Yeah,
just because they don't like you or they don't think the way you do, you're supposed to be able to win them over, not to make them and point a knife to their throat and say, you better come over or it's it. That's the problem. Now, we have the Holy Spirit that convicts their heart. He don't shove a knife in their throat and say, you better come over here or we're going to behead you or, no, he convicts your heart. He does it from the inside. He convicts you from the inside. He don't make you. God doesn't want prisoners. He wants people that love him. That's a difference.
that's why he gave us a free will. We have a free will. He wants us to love him, not for what he does or because he made a robot out of us or AI out of us, but of our own free will.
Yeah.
There, they say it's not a matter of free will. You either do it or you'll die. One of the two. That's the choice.
Yeah.
It's
It's a lot going on in America, and with what we're doing to other countries, and I just say we just need to be careful. You know, we got a lot going on down in there by Venezuela with the oil ships and with the strikes on the drug ships. And if you read the maritime law, and this is what people don't do. I think that no matter what or who you are, when you hear something on the news these days, you have to do your own research and you have to ask God for guidance to lead and guide you and in discerning what you hear. And for an example, and if you want to discern on does the American government have the right to blow up drug ships in the ocean? Just say for that. Right?
Yeah.
Do they have the right to do that? Is it a war crime and all of this? And if you look up the maritime law, it specifically says that piracy is based on the high seas law. And if you see a pirate out there, the government, any government, has the right to kill who's ever on that ship and blow the whole ship up without any repercussion.
Yeah, they hate pirates, dude.
They got to make sure,
you
just make sure what you're doing, it's the right people and all that. But with the technology that America has, we know what's on that ship and we know how many people, and you give them, and you have to have a transponder when you're out in the open sea. That's maritime law. And these ships don't have transponders. That's the first giveaway, right? So you can't even speak to them or talk to them at all because there's no communication equipment on their ships. And when they get approached, they start taking off. So there you go. And plus they can see it from the satellite.
They're guilty.
The satellite can see what's on the ship. You can see specifically, what they're carrying. We have thermal, we have all this equipment where you can see straight through the ship.
Yep. Yeah. They're automatically guilty, man. I mean, if you're saying, hey, where are you guys carrying? You don't hear anything. Yeah. Where are you from? You don't hear anything. Then they start taking off. That's a red flag, right?
Plus they use infrared. They use infrared to see what's on the ship, and they can see the bundles of whatever. And
whatever we do, they're going to lie about. They're not going to accept it at all. They even said just like that idiot. From Tennessee, from Texas there. What's her name? You know who I'm talking about, the black lady. She was saying how Trump didn't do anything, didn't stop any wars, didn't do this. In other words, Trump was a poor president. And I mean, people, how stupid can you get? And Trump is right. She's a very low IQ. And the way she was talking, she was on The View. I saw her on the podcast program. And it's I can't be honest with you, I can't stand to listen to them. I generally turn it off because I can't take that kind of lying and garbage. That's garbage. Those people are evil people. Evil, some are stupid. But I find no grace in anybody. I have a zero listening to somebody like that. Because nobody.
Yeah, that's that Jasmine Crockett lady. Jasmine Crockett. Yeah.
Came out. Yeah, it just it's ridiculous, But it's going to wind down here because I think what they're doing, they're coming up with a lot of things now. They got all this because the mountains are getting bigger as far as what we've been hoodooed out, like in Minnesota or
They're getting braver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and California. So it's going to happen.
Here's our favorite Muslim right here. You see what he says? If I get it up here where you guys can see it. He let me get us away from here. Yes, it says he says Muslims demand a tax on non-Muslims in the UK. The tax is exchanged for your life. Is anyone wanting to have it? If you give us taxes, we won't chop your head off because you're not a Muslim. Ain't that crazy?
Yeah.
Now, do you want to be in a religion like that? Is that a religion you want to be? And they throw people off. I mean, come on, guys. That's a cult. That's a demonic cult.
Oh, yeah.
That's a demonic. That's from hell itself, man. That had nothing to do with God. I mean, there is no God there. There's nothing to do with God there. That's more of a demonic. That's a demon in that guy. Here we go. Here's us another one. I'm going to go look at another one here. Jesus carries your sin, but Muhammad makes you carry the sin, and then he beats you over it. Jesus dies and carries your sin. But Muhammad beats you for it and makes you carry it. So, I mean, come on, guys. I mean, it's just common sense here. I mean, which one would you pick, A or B?
Well, you can tell Quran is a copy. Yeah, Quran is a copy anyway. You know, 700 years or something after the Bible written.
Yeah. What I'm just saying is, which one do you pick, A or B? I mean, just common sense would tell you. I mean, it's not something really hard to figure out. And I don't care how much you lie and try to say, it's not that bad. Yeah. Okay. Why is there body bags everywhere overseas? Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
These people would have been the leaders of these false religions right here. They wish they could come back and warn the people. They would no longer be a Muslim. They'd no longer be anything like that because,
I'll say this. I don't go for any other religion except for Christianity, but the Buddhists is walking for peace. They ain't smacking people for peace. They're not beating people for peace. They're walking for peace with sticks, just walking around. They hurt nobody. They say, I'm going to beat you for peace. They're not doing that, and I'm not standing up for it. I'm just saying, when a religion, no matter what it is, I don't believe in any religion but Christianity, but I'm just saying when your religion is hurting people to make them come to you, then we had some type of cult. It made you drink the magic drink or the Kool-Aid, then you die. I mean, come on. It's just common sense. I mean, when the guys come with a robe with a whip to smack you to come to his religion, I mean, come on. It's something ain't right there, is it, guys?
Looks like Acts 4:12 said, "There's one name given under heaven among men whereby we must be saved." That's Christ. I mean, there's no other way. But even they say the evangelicals now. I haven't been around it, but I've heard Pastor Larry Huck say that there's many evangelicals try to say there's more than one way. In fact, we had a recent thing right now of a man. I won't mention his name right now, but he has been a well-known man, young man, and he said that hell is not an eternal place. In other words, if you don't make it, what's going to happen? You're going to be exonerated. There won't be any suffering like that. How far from the truth can be? Because Jesus talked about hell more than anything.
If your religion looks like hell, where do you think it might came from? If your religion looks like hell, where do you think it might have came from?
You live like if you're going to go to hell. If your religion came to hell, you're designed for it.
I mean, if they're beating you and kicking you and gut kicking you, say you better come over here. You don't do it, I'm gonna take that scalp. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, come on. I mean, it's just it's just not right. I mean, it's just common sense. So, guys, I mean, if you see some of these guys tell you, "Oh, our religion's not that bad," just come on over here. Come on over. All your wife and all your girls have to wear towels over their heads, and if they take them off, we'll beat them. But anyway, they'll be all right. They'll be all right. Come on over here. So I mean, common sense will let you know what is of God. Just common sense, guys. But back on other news, we have the what was it? The Somalian, our famous Somalian guy that's been coming on TikTok and Facebook and going, "Ha ha ha! You're paying for my meal. Come on, white guys, work for me. Work for me. Pay for my bills. You owe me. Come on, you're paying for all of my people." Now the FBI has got him arrested and he's booked. So I mean, I don't know. We're no longer working for him. So I mean, come on. I think ICE found him out. I mean, if you're saying it long enough on TikTok and you're sending it to everybody, sooner or later the federal government. He even said that he owned the federal government. He said, "We own the federal government." That's what he said. And he said that you work for me. And I was like, "I don't work for you. Maybe Joe Biden worked for you, but I don't. I mean, I don't know." But it was just really weird how he was sending those videos every single time. And then he sent a video. He's like, "Oh no, they're out my door." So I guess we got released from him. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think Tim, his governor.
Yes, his governor. Yep.
His governor maybe worked for him. But
Yeah.
I watched the speech that he just gave, Tim Walz.
Yeah.
And in his speech, he blamed everybody in the world for all of that that's going on in his state. Blamed everybody, took no responsibility whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And that'll tell you what kind of a person he is. He blaming Trump, now, and then you find out, and you always got to do your research. Okay, how does this state get this money? So the United States government takes money and gives it to states to manage. And so as they manage the money and they mess it up, it's only one person at the top that has to take responsibility, and that's the government.
Buck stops at his desk.
That's it.
And he even told the people, over 400 people work there, not to say anything. I mean, they got that guy just like they do the man in the military right there, He's going to jail, him and a lot of these others. They're gonna go.
They need to. They get theirs. Yeah.
Yeah. What you sow is what you reap. What was it? Carmi's wondering if you're asleep, Pastor Mike, if you're tired.
No, I'm listening. There's a lot of stuff going on. I've been busy today, but there's a lot of stuff going on that I'm sure everybody's following. And
What's going on, man?
Saw the thing with the Somali government and so forth, man. But hey, you remember I shared with y'all back when I went to the White House Conference on Small Business in the 1990s. President William Jefferson Clinton was president, and he said that over $1 million a year was spent in Arkansas, where he was from, just on the proper way to sift the grit. So they ain't learned to Rand Paul, I'd say to him, y'all ain't learned nothing, man. This has been going on. It keeps going on. And the American people, what was it they said? The effects of cocaine on a monkey. Yeah, that, they ain't gonna have to worry about that. They keep blowing them boats up. They ain't gonna be none to be testing no monkey.
Ain't gonna be, the monkey's gonna be mad, man.
Hunter,
all their stuff's gone, man.
How about what Hunter just said recently? That his dad.
I forgot about his interview. Hunter did an interview.
Yeah, 5 hours, and he said that the immigration thing that his daddy was part of was the worst thing that's ever happened in United States history.
Wow. He
sure wasn't speaking that when he was getting a cut off at, was he?
Nah. Well, he probably lost his bag of cocaine in the White House. That's why he was so busy trying to find that. He couldn't. I don't
I
know.
think they're all acting right now. They're acting like smiling and saying things and shooting their mouths off, but they're all scared because they know their numbers coming up. And I heard Amanda Grace the other day, and she said the very same thing I've been saying right there. The confirmation, I usually don't look at them too much. I'll see them occasionally, and the Lord will take me to place where things that I preach and teach and confirm it. And she said of how judgment is coming upon these people very shortly. And two that she spoke of, I think were, let's see, who was it? There's two locations. Oh, from Russia. And also, I believe it's another place, but I know he's going to get his in Russia, and somebody else. He spoke of two countries. They're about ready to go. The leaders right there, because they've been fooling around with Trump. Trump's been working with him, but it's not going to be anything serious because he can't deal with the devil. He's trying to keep peace there, but he better watch himself because he's dealing with somebody. In fact, Russia and China and those countries are the worst enemies we have right there.
I want to ask you guys something. Do y'all want to watch a little bit of that interview? Do y'all want to watch a little bit of Hunter Biden's interview? I got it here if y'all want to watch a little bit of it. I just found it. Okay, here we go.
Hunter Biden, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, man. Big fan.
There he is.
I can't believe you're a fan.
Why?
I don't know. It's wild to me that you're a fan. Yeah, man. I'm finding, so I mean, I pretty much interviewed almost everybody that's on the Trump admin now.
Yeah.
And that kind of, I think people people got maybe the wrong impression of me that I agree with everything that side of the aisle says, and I don't. But you know, we did.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you in trouble. I got the exact opposite impression.
Right on. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. There's just some. You know who else? Elizabeth Warren's team listens to my show a lot. That really, really surprised me.
Okay, so here's why. Is that you're a great listener, and I think that the authentic way in which you listen and respond leads me to believe that that you're just open, like you're open to information, and you're not judging it as it's coming over the transom, unless it's just fucking outrageous.
Mm-hmm.
There's some language on here, so overlook it, guys.
Somebody's being hateful or lying or insincere, and. You know, I was saying to those guys out there, I watch you do the, I've watched everything, not everything, but I've watched, I really do. I listen to you while I paint and,
He painted.
and, the thing that always comes across to me with you is that fundamentally you have like a core set of beliefs, of values. And they're the same values I have. I mean, and maybe that's a shock or a surprise.
I don't know about that.
But you know, I was saying to you guys out there, like we all think that, you know, if you're Republican or Democrat, you know, that we got nothing in common. Mm-hmm. But I will tell you what I was raised with. What I try to, you know, I mean, obviously I try and I failed in many respects, and failed in my addiction, and sometimes fail in my sobriety, and being the man that I aspire to be. But I care about my family. I care about my friends. I care about my community. I care about my country, and I care about my faith. And I'm, you know, maybe being presumptuous. I think that's what you care about. And I don't mean that as like some saccharine bullshit, but our prescription of how to make all those things better may be different. You know? And those are the things that we used to argue about.
Yeah.
You know, I'd grown up, you know, the majority of my friends were all Republicans. You know, I aspired. I mean, my heroes were you guys. You know, the people that served, like my brother, like you, and uh, and so anyway, my point is,
Oh
I
man.
don't think. I don't know why you'd be shocked, other than by the impression that's been left about me.
I think
I don't know.
I think I'm shocked because I'm dealing with this shit, man. You grew up in this, in politics, and
I didn't grow up in this though, Sean.
yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess what I'm getting at is it's just, man, it's so fucking politicized now. And so you think that, you think that the Republican Democrat, which
Guys, watch his language. This is a normal, regular thing. So there's going to be a little language here and there. I just thought I'd warn you. So here we go.
I don't even fucking know what it means
Let's
to be
see
a
here.
Republican anymore, to be honest with you. I think everything's just so far off base now that I don't
Yeah.
I don't even know. I have conservative values, and that's all I can say anymore. But it's just become so divisive that it appears that the decision has already been made for you, to most people, on who you can associate with, who you can watch, who you can take information from, and who you can't. And while I don't and will never again fall into those fucking lines. I think a lot of people.
I got a lot of cussing in here, guys. I'm going to try to go
Like
past them.
And it was 1972, and he won by a few thousand votes, and he became the youngest ever elected member of the United States Senate that wasn't appointed as they were before like 1935, and despite the fact that my dad was a United States senator, Delaware's a really small state, and when my mom and my sister were killed in that accident, my brother and I were in the back seat, and it's amazing. I just got a letter from someone. It said the woman, and I literally just got it. And when I was I just saw it for the first time on the plane. The woman, and I didn't even know this story, that was on, she was an off-duty nurse, and she drove by the scene in which we got struck by a tractor trailer that was coming down a hill on this like 4-lane road or 2-lane road, and my mom pulled out into the intersection, I guess, and Bo and I were trapped in the car, and according to this note that I just got, everybody just thought that we were dead. And so we were in the car for an extended period of time. And the nurse came onto the scene. She just was passing by. And she's the one that reached in and gave us the first aid to save our lives.
Whoa.
And I never met her.
And you
She
just got a
passed
letter
away.
from
Yeah,
her?
I just got a letter from one of her family's members saying that she just passed away and that she thought that I would want to know. Isn't that amazing?
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. It's amazing. And I only tell this story because that it was a really, really violent and horrific event. My brother ended up in the hospital. Well, both of us ended up in the hospital for an extended period of time. My biggest issue was I had serious brain trauma, and my brother was basically in a body cast for, in traction for a long time.
Shit.
But the amazing part is that the Delaware is a small state. I mean, the state adopted us. Really, like, I have more aunts and uncles that I grew up with. And in that respect,
All thing I can say is all the things that he's done and all the people that's been put in prison because of doing the exact same things that he done, and he's not even seen prison. I can say that. So I mean,
My dad came
It's-
from a normal middle class family, and he entered the United States Senate, a normal middle class guy. And I said he made a vow in 1972 because it was right prior to the beginning of Watergate, and he had Spiro Agnew, and he made a pledge that he would never own a stock or a bond, and he hasn't, other than through whatever retirement account that he has with the United States government.
Wow.
And he's just a goddamn mother. Because I have some legal bills that I could use some of the stocks in a bond. But my point is that, despite the fact that my dad was a United States Senator my whole life, Delaware's a really small place. And so, if I got pulled over for speeding, my brother and I on our way to school, it wasn't like, it was like, your dad, Joe's going to kick your asses. You know what I mean? That was kind of the way in which we grew up. Because my dad commuted every day. He decided that my aunt moved into the house, and my uncle built a apartment above a little garage that we had, and he moved in for a period of time. And we spent almost every other day, at least, with my grandparents. So we were raised, and then we got remarried when I was 7, and Bo was 8, and so I had a pretty normal life, and out of that tragedy, I kind of gained a whole kind of extended family that maybe I wouldn't have otherwise. It was a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my relationship with my brother, I literally, I think one way or another, except when he was in Iraq for a year, I talked to him, my brother, at least once a day.
Really?
Yeah, and we were inseparable, and we used to fight and beat the shit out of each other like brothers do. But yeah, he was the closest thing I had in the world.
What kind of stuff were you into as a kid?
Sports,
Sports?
Yeah,
What kind of sports?
I played football, but when I was much younger, I played everything. But then in high school, football, yeah. But we did everything. You know what I mean? I mean, how old are you?
43.
Yeah, so I'm 55. So you're the tail end of, you're actually, no, you're not. But like we spent our lives outside. Like from, the rule was when the street lights went on, and you had to come in.
Yeah.
And so we just literally, and whether it was, summer, winter, it didn't matter. We spent our entire time outside on BMXs and skateboards and, in the pond behind the house. And, all we did was, shoot BB guns at each other.
Nice.
So, yeah.
What, what's it like growing up in politics and the political?
Well, that's
elite?
what I'm kind of trying to say, is that for us, I didn't grow up in DC.
Yeah.
My dad never had, I never experienced that, DC insider. And that's maybe why I have such an amazing disdain for the people that continue to, one of the things that you realize about DC and about being a United States Senator, in Congress, is that there are a lot of people that give the true blood, sweat, and tears to become elected. But there's like a permanent power class in DC. I'm not talking about like some shadow government, they're identifiable people that go from administration to administration, that go from, working for one think tank to another. And my dad was never a part of that. He came home every night. He famously hated to fundraise, and he didn't need to fundraise that much because we come from a state of just under 1 million people, and so in many respects a very, very normal life. I went to a little Quaker school, and then I went to St. Edmund's Academy, and I think I got more demerits than anyone in the history, according to somebody I just saw in the history of that school. And I went to the Catholic high school that my dad went to, and then I went to Georgetown. I worked for the Jesuit Volunteer Corps when I got out of school. It's like domestic Peace Corps. You know what I mean?
Peace Corps.
But in terms of growing up in politics, the only thing that I can say is that we had an incredible. We had a rule, which was, it was based out of the accident, is that Bo and I could go with my dad anywhere if we asked. And we also knew enough not to take advantage of it to the degree that it became like to get out of, the math test or something like that. But we did take advantage of it to the degree we went everywhere with my dad. That's
Really?
Me, Bo, and my dad, like everywhere. And the rule was, you speak when you're spoken to. And if you're going to sit in a meeting, since we were 5 years old, is you go up and you shake somebody's hand. You say, "Nice to meet you, sir. Nice to meet you, ma'am." And then if you want to stay in the room, then you sit and you sit quietly until you're spoken to. And we loved to do that.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, so we were with my dad. We went everywhere together, everywhere. And what a gift, I mean, like, and so we would get on the train with him, and we'd go and sit in the cloakroom while he would go out and, on the Senate floor. But then we would leave. So unlike other United States senators and their families or Congress people that move their families to DC and get a, house in Georgetown and go to, St. Albans and, go to all the same restaurants. Bo and I, like, we're a little shadow of a United States senator, but then we get back on the train and go back to Delaware. And so, in that respect, it was a really unique kind of life, and one that I never didn't have. My dad's so proud.
So you were like really close with your dad.
Oh, he was so proud. The thing he loved to do more than anything is take people. He would literally, we would be walking in the Senate, and he would run into some tourists from Jiminy. I mean, like, it didn't matter what state, because they'd be like asking somebody how to get.
I'm gonna fast forward a little bit
Implemented
because
that
this
kind
thing
of
is 5 hours
infrastructure.
If you
long.
build up the
Allow that.
infrastructure of Naftagas, the state-owned company, potentially, yes,
Okay.
but not even remotely for Burisma. No.
I think that if I was the owner of a company
Yeah.
that had that kind of resource,
Yeah.
I would very much want the president of the United States' son on my board,
Oh, by the way, Sean, there's no doubt.
or vice president at that time.
But by the way, not for any specific end game like that. I'm absolutely certain that was not. I think that what he was afraid of is that he was going to get killed. I'm positive that the CEO was not by anybody in the United States, is that he was going to get killed by Putin. And so he 100% thought that by bringing me on board, number one is that I was absolutely qualified. Number two is that I demanded that we be transparent about it. You realize I went on the board and I put out a press release saying that I went on the board. I wasn't hiding it from anybody.
Okay.
And who else was on the board? And I'm absolutely certain that that part of the reason that he wanted me on the board was for protection. He thought that if at least that he was associated with that name, that it would give him some protection from the forces of the Russian forces writ large that were out to literally bury him. So I don't have any doubt about that. Was there some? All I know is this: is that I served my 5 years on the board. No one ever asked me to do anything that my dad had any control of. And 3 of the years in which I was on the board, 3.5 of the years in which I was on the board, my dad wasn't in office. I took that job because it afforded me the opportunity to do two things. Number one is that I felt incredibly comfortable serving on a board. just from a capacity and the confidence of being able to be of value, that I was being paid to do something that I had the capacity and was capable of doing. Number one. And number two, it gave me freedom because they paid me a fucking lot of money. And my brother had just been diagnosed with with cancer, and a incurable form of cancer. And so it gave me an enormous amount of space to be able to spend time and do that. And I'm not saying like I did it for my brother. I'm a saint, and that's the only reason I did it. That's bullshit. I did it because it paid well, and I knew where the lines were. And that's
At
what I
least he's
did.
admitting the truth.
Do you think that it would have been in our intelligence agency's best interest for you to be on that board?
No,
Not that they manipulated you, just do you think it would be in their best interest to have
in
you on that?
our intelligence, I think it ends up being that it was in a lot of people's best interest, others that were not mine nor my father's.
So it could be
Yes.
that all of these things are true at the same time.
What being what all of what things?
That intelligence agencies wanted you in there. That the guy that wanted protection, he wanted you in there for protection and also wheeling and dealing in the future.
Yeah, I think
that all these things,
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
be true at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Yep.
I think that you're right. And I refrain from doing this in terms of like the whataboutism, is that I didn't go work for the Ukrainian government. I didn't go work for instance, the Saudis. I didn't go work for the Albanians. I didn't go work for the Serbians. I didn't go work for the Emiratis. I didn't go work for the Qataris. I didn't take money for the purposes of changing U.S. policy as it relates to weapon systems or individuals that were murdered or anything like that. And I got paid a amount that I was transparent about what I got paid. I served my 5 years on the board, 3 of which were when my father was not in office in any shape or form. And then I left. And so whether those things could have happened as it relates to me, sure. Are those things happening not just in front of our faces, but like you might as well be coming and slapping us in the face. Jared Kushner is right now negotiating a peace deal with the Ukrainians and the Russians with direct interest as it relates to the energy, the energy interest inside of Russia and their partners, whether it's in India, the Saudi Arabia, or what's going about to happen with Nord Stream pipeline. A direct interest of which he's been.
But he is working for the president of the United States.
Taken $2.5 billion from partners to impact those changes.
Oh, well.
I served on a board for 2 years. You have every email that I've ever sent, every text message that I've ever sent, every single communication that I have ever had, including during that period of time. And there is not a single communication other than the one thing that they hung their hat on is a guy that was in Washington, D.C. at the time, was the secretary to the board, said, "Hey, Hunter, thank you. It was nice meeting your dad." In which he was walking out of a restaurant, and my dad was walking into a restaurant with me, and I introduced the two of them. And that's it.
I
They
think
started an impeachment investigation over this.
I think one question that a lot of people have is the 10% for the big guy remark.
Not from me. And I'll tell you exactly what it was. It's from a guy named James Gilliard, along with Tony something.
Bobulinski.
Okay. Yeah, Tony Bobulinski, who claims to have known me so well. You know how many times I met Tony Bobulinski? Maybe 4, maybe 3 times, in which I told him to go fuck himself and that I wouldn't do business with him. In which they're negotiating a deal, not having, by the way, anything to do with Burisma. Nothing to do with Burisma. It had to do with a entity that was starting a U.S. entity of a Chinese energy firm, in which they wanted to partner and create an investment vehicle. And James Gilliard sends a email, not me, sends an email to 6 other people, including Tony Bomalitsky, in which I'm CC'd on, in which he proposes equity splits, of which he says 10% for the big guy. And I don't know what James Gilliard was referring to, but I know this, is that structure, that proposed group of people, a proposed partnership to
So it was his dad.
do
Anyway,
like
go
an
ahead.
energy, number one was occurring when my dad was out of office and was not a candidate for president and was 2 years away from being vice president, and his career public service, according to everybody else, was over. So number one, who gives a fuck?
I have problems with all this cussing here. Let me see if I can go ahead a little bit. Here we go.
I partnered with this production company called Iron.
From that. And thinking, even if one of the people that you respect in the world believed that could be true, like, oh my God. Like, how do you ever get out of bed? And then how do you defend yourself, Sean? What do you go out and do this? And you go, I'm not a pedophile. I'm not a pedophile. Like, literally, like, I don't beat my wife. You know what I mean? And that's what they did. And then they just repeated it over and over again until it kind of played out, until at least some responsible journalists said, okay, like, if you keep, like, we're not going to keep repeating this because it's patently false and there's zero evidence of it. So then they moved on to the next thing. They moved on to the next thing, that I was the next thing was a symbiotic relationship between the Russian GRU and like Steve Bannon and Gao, the Chinese billionaire, that ran the Chinese, that cult, in which what they determined then is that I was funding weapons labs in Ukraine with George Soros to infect migratory birds to murder the population in Russia. And that was the whole thing. That got me sanctioned by the Russians. They did a 2.5 hour press conference on it, and then it just comes around, and then in the right wing podcast ecosphere, from Alex Jones back to Russia, back to Chinese operatives, back to Gao, back to Bannon, and then they recycle it again. And then what ends up happening is that the New York Post and Sean Hannity, give it some credence. They don't do it in a way that
Welcome to what Trump goes through every single day.
is completely absurd, but they report on the accusations. And then the New York Times writes a story about the story. And then it gets on CNN, and Jake Tapper does a piece on, well, this may not be true, but clearly there's, Hunter Biden's corrupt. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And what do you do? So I started the day as a pedophile, and I went to bed as some super spy that is providing billions of dollars in funding for weapons labs. And I woke up the next morning being accused of something else. And it became almost impossible. So what I can tell you about the laptop is that there is no laptop. That's bullshit. What was provided out there,
There was no fucking laptop.
there is an actual physical laptop that somebody had. But the guy that said he had the laptop, the existence of the search for a laptop came before he was even a twinkle in Rudy Giuliani's eye. There were people, talk to Lev Parnas. Lev Parnas literally went to Ukraine to get a laptop from Dmitry Firtash, to get a hard drive, Hunter Biden's hard drive, from Dmitry Firtash and Andrei Derkach in Ukraine, in Austria, 4 months before John Paul McIsaac nobody ever existed. And so what they did is they cobbled together stolen, concocted, fabricated mishmash of digital information, largely which is, thousands and thousands and thousands of
said it
emails for 20.
He said it wasn't no laptop. He said, "You tell me it ain't no laptop." Oh yeah, it was a laptop. I'm like, what?
You know how you stop this war in Russia? You send Hunter to Putin, and then Putin stops speaking.
Yeah, he get confused, man. I mean, that guy to get you. He went from talking about him being stuck in the back seat with his brother in a wreck, and they just left him back there until they said, "Oh, there's some kids back there," and some nurse helped him out, and then went from that till he's playing this trying to get people to feel sorry for him, and he said, "Oh yeah, I watch your program while I'm painting." You know how he's making them paintings of $1 million a painting. I was like, man, it's.
They Hollywood. They're good actors, I tell you.
That
From
dude,
25 years.
who's crazy, man.
I mean, no laptop could have held all of that. And so what they did is they put it all together.
That's because he had 2 of them.
And then they talk about it. I mean, John Paul McIsaac, who is literally blind, there's no videotape of me ever dropping off a laptop. There's no, so whatever.
You never dropped off a laptop?
I have no recollection whatsoever of ever dropping off a laptop to John Paul McIsaac, to his shop. And so what he did, though, let me just put it this way. Say I took my laptop in to get repaired.
You did.
And you're John Paul McIsaac. And what he says is he reads and he goes to repair the laptop, but then he starts to read the files in the laptop. And he reads a file and he sees files about Burisma. By the way, a board of which I'm on, of an independent private Ukrainian company in which I am a.
That's funny. Oh, Harold said, he said, that's what happens when you mix crack and alcohol. You forget.
Yeah.
A board member doing corporate governance as an attorney. And he says that the only thing
God
that he
help
can
him,
think
man.
of doing
His
is
lawyer
calling
takes
Rudy
care of
Giuliani. He's a laptop repair shop owner in Wilmington, Delaware, whose store is 3.5 miles at most from where my parents live, where everybody knows my parents live. So if he had a laptop that he wanted to return, he thinks that the best thing to do is call Rudy Giuliani's lawyer, Bob Costello, and give it to my sworn enemy.
Yep, they don't like it.
Who then take it, and in it, I will once again ask you this question. What crime has anyone ever...
But there was no laptop, right?
No, he took a hard drive. He took whatever he said. He said that he had a damaged laptop, and what he did is he downloaded a hard drive, and then he gave that hard drive to Bob Costello. And then from that hard drive, you have people like Patrick Byrne and Jack Maxey and a whole bunch of other people. Like I could list the names that come together. There's one woman that's like known as Cat Lady or something like that, literally. And what they say that they did is they cobbled together all of this digital material that was floating out everywhere, that had been stolen from phones, that had been taken from the dark web, that had been taken from the hard drive that John Paul McIsaac.
They consolidated it all.
And they consolidated it all, and they made it out to be this thing. And so then the story doesn't become about the laptop at all, because there's nothing in the laptop other than a record of me being a degenerate drug addict. At the worst moment in my life. At the worst moment of my life, of people clearly, me not taking selfies, of people.
Him smoking crack, having hookers over, him smoking weed and getting high and passing out. Yeah, we've already saw that, man. I mean, come on.
Clearly taking pictures of me in the rooms that I found myself in. Smoking crack, doing drugs, doing whatever.
Smoking more than that.
Nothing criminal.
Oh, that ain't criminal.
Other than
criminal.
drug use. And what other people would think is,
There's nothing criminal about that.
Abhorrent behavior. I mean, whatever. Having sex with women. And so they take that, and then you can say whatever you want. No one read the stories. When you put me
Transvestite.
naked on the front page of the New York
That's what I'm
Post
saying.
over and over again with a crack
Minor
pipe in my
created
mouth,
transgender.
it becomes like gold. And Miranda Devine said it was the most read, the most followed story in the history of the paper. She's written and sold 2 best-selling books based upon that. And it's all about the pictures. It's like
You
sex,
gonna
drugs, and
sell another
politics,
book
man.
after this interview?
And that's what they did. So then it became about the cover-up of the laptop story. You know why Twitter took down that story?
Because
Non-consensual pornography. It's because under what is the law today that was pushed by Melania Trump, it's revenge porn. You're not allowed to take a
Brooke
picture
said,
that is
he's
stolen from
lying
somebody's
about the
digital
laptop.
material
I was
of
like,
them
for sure.
naked and with another person and publish it. I mean, you're not allowed to do that. It's a crime.
No, you're
But
not.
in
allowed to.
my instance, and so that's what the New York Post story ran in the initial
He's
story,
expert on
and it had naked pictures of me in there. And under the terms of Twitter, they took it down when I objected to it. So you got to take that down. And so they took it down, and then that became the hobby horse for everybody. Is that it was an issue of free speech, and how the deep state, buried the story.
First of all, you don't take your crack smoking, hooker picking up pictures to a laptop guy. I guess you're supposed to erase it, not go and show it. Especially if you're the president's son, that makes it even worse. It's just really weird stuff, man. I mean, what do you guys think?
One of the first sentences that he started showed he's still on drugs. He said he's concerned about his faith. That right there is proof he can't pass a drug test. I mean, he ain't no religious guy. When he sat here and he said his faith meant so much to him, Hunter, I'm sure whoever he hires as an attorney is probably sitting here rolling over, sitting here saying, please shut up. He's going to sell it. He won't be the one with money for the book, but there'll be a book sold from that interview. And before it's over with, you remember you didn't play that part. In the interview, he said he felt really bad that he was such a degenerate and he got a pardon. After all the things he did, he got a pardon. Can you believe that? And he better hope that auto pen shows proof. But you know what? His daddy's law will turn around and say right now that I didn't authorize that. If I signed that, somebody slipped it in there on me. Because if I was his daddy, there ain't no way. He blamed his daddy for the dysfunctional government. He said that 13 people lost their life at Marines. He said that was the worst leaving by the United States in the history of the United States of America. And his daddy or the generals or whoever was at fault, somebody needs to be held accountable. He said that in an interview.
Yeah, Harold said, I think we should have, he should have took the lessons from Hillary Clinton, how to get rid of it. So I guess he didn't learn anything.
No. And he's probably on their number one crap list right now. I'm waiting on him to sit here and say, Bill's the worst one on the Epstein list. And now they're sitting here saying Bill's going to fall on the sword and he wants everybody exposed because he already knows his goat's cooked. Matter of fact, they said there's a thing on Facebook where Hillary's talking about Bill says, I can't go back home because I ain't going to come out alive.
Yeah, his wife had him hung. That's a fact. Yeah, but it's these politicians, man, they're crazy. I mean, they believe that they think they're gods and they can do whatever they want to. Everything that this guy has done, there has been normal citizens that's done it, and they all end up in prison for years. And he's still walking free. And I'm just saying, it's like he's beyond the law. It's like these guys are beyond the law.
Well, he's not. Pastor Stan, I'm still thinking, in the mid-'90s or the late 90s, I remember in a vision that I had, and I'm talking to Bill and Hillary. And this was after the thing happened with Mena, Arkansas. where the kids was found on the tracks. Now the stink's coming out about that what they witnessed that took place. And I say to the then president and the first lady that you're not going to continue to get away with this. You need to come clean, because there were some other things that happened during that time. And, you heard me share about when I requested through the Freedom of Information Act certain things. And I didn't get what I asked for, but I got what I didn't ask for. And I was like, man, this is unbelievable, some of the stuff they're doing. They were so dumb. They sent me the wrong stuff, but they sent me stuff that not many people know about. And I know who's got it now. I mean, because I basically told them anything ever happens to me, there's several people's been given the permission to go ahead and go forward. But these people, you're right, that these people think they're above the law. But when he said what he did the other day, and he said that he was guilty of the following things, and he got a special pardon, and he couldn't believe that his daddy took care of him. And he actually even said that he honestly thought that his dad was going to follow through on that and not bail him out. Now you look at all these people that's been to jail and so forth, and after what he just said on this interview, which, by the way, I'm sure you guys have already heard something about this, that part of what is being spun through media is that what Putin got so mad about with Ukraine was because of some of the biolabs that they found out that was taking place. Now, Hunter just sat here and let that out when he said he was accused. I never heard that he was part of this until Hunter said he was accused of being part of this. But I do know about the thing with the uranium, and all the uranium that ended up disappearing when Hillary was Secretary of State, and Putin found out that somebody was getting ready to get nuked and Russia was getting ready to get blamed for it and get brought into a war. It's pitiful what some of these people have done to America. And then Trump sitting here trying to straighten some of this out, just like with Nigeria. The president of Nigeria said that he agreed and he told Trump to do it, and he would give him whatever information he needed. But the United States is some of these people, the deep state, which, by the way, isn't that amazing that a couple of years ago, what I was doing, and Carmi didn't realize it probably when y'all was talking, I was flipping through my laptop because I got one here at the house. I was looking at some of the stuff from years ago that people were talking about, and how the election, y'all remember how some of the stuff that you was told that happened and they said it was an honest accident and so forth. Now what we're finding out is that instead of taking to adjudicate the votes and taking the ones to be fixed or looked into whether they were right or wrong, that they hit a button that took them all to it. So all the mail-in, and it'd been easy for somebody to just sit there and say, just go ahead and hit that button right there. Nobody's going to know no better. And just like in Georgia, when we saw the suitcases being pulled out from under the table, and it's like, don't believe you lying eyes. Them ain't suitcases you see, and them ain't ballots. And now we're finding out that we got lied to there too. Rudy Giuliani lost everything he had, and they tried to put him in prison. They tried to put Trump in prison and so forth. And now Trump's in office, and things are looking a little different. And I hope and pray that they get to keep the House, or otherwise what's going to happen is before they can charge any of these people, or even if they do charge them, if the Democrats get control of the House, they're going to stop all of it.
Yeah, that's it. And that's why they're pushing the agenda. Trump is on the Epstein files, and he's so bad, and he's this and that, and they're trying to cover up all their little buddies that was really into the thing and trying to they always try to make everybody else except for them to look terrible. So they're really working hard on the Epstein thing. So but anyway, this joker here, I mean I wish he would repent and come to God, come to the Lord, and change his life. But when you're at the point that he is, when you think you're beyond the law, it's a whole different scenario than a normal person, if you know what I mean. And it takes one good time for one of those guys to go to prison to see that he's not beyond the law, and for justice to take its place. And then I think everybody would be more at rest if that would happen. But with this guy, I've not. It's like it constantly goes on. Like he can do whatever he wants to, and it's all good. And then he comes on this show and tries to lie to him, which he is a Navy SEAL, ex Navy SEAL, and he's seeing right through his junk what he's trying to say. He's looking right through it, and he's like,
Yeah.
"You sure ain't no laptop? No, it's no laptop, but it had my stuff on it." Well, if you don't have one, how does it have your pornography on it? I mean, come on, common sense. So it had to be one.
Yeah, they had his signature when he signed possession of the laptop over. And by the way, the guy tried several times to contact him. And the only reason that he went forward, and he only went forward when he decided, I made 2 or 3 efforts to get a hold of him to come pick it up, and he's not willing to do it. And then he saw the things on it, and he didn't call Rudy Giuliani first. Come on, stupid. Hunter, you realize that he called the FBI, and the FBI come and picked it up. But praise God, the guy was smart enough. Well, I'll go ahead and make a backup of it, because he gave it to the FBI and they authenticated it and didn't do nothing with it. And then they got mad at the guy when they realized, oh my God, he tricked us. He's got a backup. He didn't trust us. Well, why should he trust them? Because they put that fire out. And if I'm Trump, I'm just like, look, Hunter, Daddy signed you a pardon. He's by law allowed to do that. But I can get Dr. Anthony, I can get Liz, and I can get all the others, and I'm going to get them all. And then I'm going to let all of them sit here and say, this is not fair. The biggest crook of all is that one. And hey, that's fine. Let them eat each other. Listen, cannibalism took place way many years ago, and it's getting ready to take place again in that party. They're gonna eat their own, and that's what they're doing. I mean, it's just like, what did Bill Barr say? Bill Barr said what? No, Bill Barr said when Trump called him and said when he was elected president, he said the first thing I want to do is I want to get to the bottom of this. Oh, you ain't heard? What do you mean I've not heard? He hung himself, and Bill Barr said Trump went crazy on him and basically said, how in the heck does that happen? But he didn't say heck. He said, how does that happen when he's in the custody of our government? How do y'all let this happen? And what do you think it happened? That's just like, oh, by the way, y'all remember the guy that used to be, I forget what position he had. Ken, I know you was in the military, so you remember. You remember the guy that was part of the Clinton administration, and they was getting ready to question him, I think when Bush come in, and his plane hit the side of that mountain, and he died.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I remember.
That was, if I see the name, I know who it is. But anyway, he was killed in a plane crash, and then Vince Foster, he shot himself with the wrong hand. But anyway, he shot himself, and then all the others. And it would surprise me that some other stuff is going to happen. I remember when my mom and dad was alive, my dad was so upset about Benghazi because he was like, how in the world do you let your ambassador get drug out and dragged through the streets and killed like that? And then you're caught making a comment to your daughter that it was never about what I said it was about. That was a lie. How in the world did these people get? I mean, it's just like with Hunter sitting here when Joe said, well, I'm not going to give him a pardon because what he did was wrong. And then not only Hunter sat here and said his daddy give him a pardon after he done all of this terrible stuff. He said that in this interview. And then he goes and he sits here and he says his dad was one of the worst. He said that right there was one of the worst things ever happened by letting all these people in. Hunter said, you thought Trump was talking. Hunter said that you should come in America legally. You should not. So what are they going to do? The president's son just called out the whole administration and said that the way they handled all of that, including Afghanistan, was terrible.
Yeah, I've not got to that yet, but yeah, that's
yeah, he
pretty,
said
like
it.
I said, I can't be on here for this thing here will go on. They said about close to 5 hours. So
Well, this was on this Sean Hannity show. You know, I know they just go in there and pick the juicy stuff, but there was just probably about 5 minutes of interview, and it was like, oh, somebody need to go to jail for this. But he basically said that was terrible. He said 13 Marines died unnecessary. He said somebody's got to be held accountable. He said whether it was his dad or the generals or whoever didn't do what they were supposed to do, he said that was terrible. And Putin even said that was the reason that he invaded Ukraine, that if Trump would have been president, he would have never done that, but he knew Joe wasn't going to do nothing. But it's worse than that, guys. I think what it is, that bio stuff that Hunter brought up in that interview that Putin accused him of with Soros, there's more to that. There's more to that because under the dark web that people was talking about, they were talking about that Putin was going crazy over that this was not just about COVID. This was about experiments that was taking place and that they were going to attack Russia by using those bioweapons and kill all those people. Well, I'm sure you'd probably get, I don't care what leader you are, what country, you'd be very, very upset if you had wind that something like that was going on. And Hunter can say that he wouldn't do nothing like that, but you know what? He was close with the Soros family. He just sat here and he lied, I don't know how many times on this interview, because he said here,
it was pretty funny.
There was no laptop. Come on, Hunter. And then he acts like Bobolinsky, and he didn't tell the whole part. Bobolinsky sat there in the interview with the FBI, said that Hunter circumvented the deal that was drawn up by James Gilliard and the others, and he cut all them out and he took the millions of dollars for himself. He forgot to tell that part, didn't he?
Yeah, it was really funny watching that. But Susie was saying that, I know it was a lie. I was like, I can't believe he even said that.
Hey, well, how about the guy that's in prison, you know, that had to go to prison because of all this stuff in Burisma? And by the way, Hunter forgot to tell something else too, y'all. Did y'all know that in Europe that the head guy from Burisma has been put in prison? And you know who his co-conspirator is? That they can't arrest him because of where he's at. But if he comes to any of the European countries, he will be arrested. None other than Sweet Thing. It just got on there and done an interview. He's a co-conspirator. He's already been found guilty. They've indicted him, and all they're doing is just waiting for an opportunity to grab him. And I reckon I wonder if Daddy can get him out of that one.
Probably not. But
no. International law.
It's a pretty weird thing how he brought all that stuff up, and then he would lie about it, and then he would admit to it. So I mean, come on, guys. Did you do it? You know, it's
yeah. He don't know, Pastor Stan, that he admitted to it. You gonna play that back, and then he gonna say that somebody messed with the audio. That ain't his voice. His brain is so burned out. That's why they did those commercials many years ago. Said this is your brain, and then this is your brain on drugs.
Yeah, it was some weird stuff. What do you think about it, Ken?
I have a whole bunch of notes here.
Okay, go for it. You probably wrote a whole letter there, man.
First of all, Harold is so correct. It hurt my ears every time he cursed.
Yeah.
He used the word GD as also. I don't know if y'all caught that, but
I was trying to
deal with it. Yeah.
There's some bad
but that
stuff
faith, like Mike said, that faith talk. He said, you know, and and the last one was his faith. Just, you know, it's amazing how people throw up like they're Christians, but yet their actions speak for themselves. What does it say, Ed? You will know them by their fruits.
Yeah, their fruits. Well,
they rot, man.
They're of their father, the devil. And those guys, I'm going to tell you, you're seeing a bunch of people that ain't going to make it to heaven. I know in my spirit about these people. You know, they're the kind of people, they're going to be like the Red Sea, just like she put up there, I believe. It was talking about the Red Sea. This destruction, this judgment is going to be falling. And even Amanda Grace, she's a prophet. She even spoke about those things soon. And Zelensky and Putin, the two biggest problems right there, that cause probably the biggest problems with it, they're about to go very soon. So I'll tell you, seeing these things, I hear all this junk what you're talking about, Mike and you, Stan, everybody. I hear what these liars are saying, and it just makes me all the glad that God created a heaven for people who are living for Him, and makes me glad there's a hell where people are going to go and suffer for all eternity. Because I do believe that's the right judgment for them. The day I used to believe it, hell was too bad for anybody to ever go to. But I've experienced this thing, and right now I can see why God created, because for the devil and his angels, hell was created, and the devil and his angels aren't the demons, just the angels. They're people that follow the devil. Hell was
Yeah.
created, they didn't want any human being to go, but the people follow the devil. And when I see it, it actually makes me mad to hear them talking what they're doing to people. And I'll tell you, if I get mad at something, you can imagine how God feels when any of us get mad. And he is about at the boiling point. And fellas, it can't go very much longer. We're going to see a lot of things break real quick. They don't think it's going to happen. It's going to happen just that quick. They're going to be gone. And you're not going to see more about them. And this thing, it really doesn't faze me one iota about anything that they say.
I'm going to say this. If you're in the spirit and you can look at that guy, you can feel what's going on with him. You ain't have to say anything.
The mind of God, you can actually come to a point that you almost think you have the mind of God, and you got to watch that though, because you can get yourself in a place. But when you get the confirmation of everything you're saying, dude, then you know you're on the right track. But you got to watch it when you get these things, because you can get to a place you think you are God, like the Kool-Aid man,
Yeah.
Well,
you have to be led by the Spirit. It's a dangerous position to be in. A lot of people get big-headed when they get so far, and that's why a lot of them fail all these major ministries. Now we're seeing majority of them falling by the wayside.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if you're in the spirit, you can tell what's going on as they talk. You start picking up on what's going on. Anybody's in the if you're really in the Holy Spirit, I don't care what anybody says, you can pick up things.
Oh, yeah.
You're open, and if you're not in the spirit. If you can't pick up, if you're not delicate to the spirit, you're not in the spirit. So I'm saying anybody that's in the Holy Spirit, I know a lot of prophets. You walk around them, they're going to pick up stuff. That's just how they are. So what I'm saying is, as I was sitting here, and I'm not saying I'm nobody different or anything. It's just, I prayed for a few people. I could pick up things. So as I'm sitting there listening to him and I'm looking at him, I don't care what he says. I'm just trying to pick up in the spirit. As I'm doing a session with somebody, I don't care what they say. I'm trying to pick up what's coming off, what I'm picking up off of them. So as I'm picking up right there, I'm seeing what I'm feeling is a guy that has no remorse for anything.
Mm-hmm.
He'll say anything and anything to get you to agree with it. But his mind has already set what he's already set forth to do. What he was set forth to do was to sell that book. That's the only reason he's there. He's not there.
Right.
That's the only reason he's there for.
You say you're about knowing them in the spirit, and that's what it is. Something that I said, and I've said this often over the years. When I first saw Obama, before he spoke, before I knew anything about him, just saw a young man there. And the thing that came across me was a spirit of evil that I've never seen before. It made the Clintons look like Bible school teachers. And this is the most dangerous man. In fact, I had a man that was one church where I did. He was the bodyguard for Forrest Tucker, the movie star. And he was saying how Obama was the Antichrist. But no, he's not the Antichrist. But, he is in such a role. I've sensed that he's going to be a leader in that, most likely. And I said something today. I was talking to my daughter, and I never thought of it this way. But if you guys know, in Revelation, the 10 kingdoms aren't 10 countries. They're the 10, just like 10 units. So there's going to be 10 leaders in each unit, like United States, Canada, and there's about 14 in each pocket. And that's going to be the whole world right there. Jack Van Impe made a mistake on it, he said, when he did that, but he used to think the 10 countries, but no, it's 10 kingdoms. And with these 10 kingdoms in power, there'll be somebody, a leader of the United States. And I'm not saying this, I'm not saying thus, don't misunderstand me, but it's very easy to be somebody like him, because the evil as I experienced, no matter what anybody thinks, maybe you guys don't believe me, Maybe somebody don't believe me, but I know I haven't been wrong in anything yet that I've said. It's been confirmed that I know of, and prophetical thing like that. And a thing in that man there, he's not done yet. Here he's had it as far as anything political here. But when things switch over, once the rapture of the church takes place, somebody is evil like I did what they did. Just like Tulsi Gabbard, she has all this information on him. She has enough to put him in the firing squad from what she was saying, what they're doing. And this man has been the bottom of everything. He has ruled the last presidency, and he would have ruled the next one if she would have gotten it, you know.
Yeah.
He has, this man, he's the smoothest man, a smooth talker, but look how he came into things. He came up from nowhere into a terrorist home. The man that actually did some of the blowing up of the government building, you know, in Washington right there. He was a bad man to begin with. He was brought up in that room there. His daddy was a hater of America. I mean, he came from the worst to the worst. So he's actually, and it doesn't appear that way. A lot of people say, well, I think so-and-so is worse. I think, but what I sense in the spirit and what I got the feeling of evil right there, just by seeing that man there, I'll never forget that.
Oh,
that
man.
real to me is
Yes.
the world. So
Oh,
I'm going to become one, but
Yeah. Oh, Harold said he sounds like a used car salesman working in Phoenix and it's 110 degrees and gets to work and snorts cocaine before 9 o'clock in the morning. That's what Joe Biden sound like. I mean,
Wow.
Hunter Biden sound like.
Yeah.
But
he never accomplished one thing in office, Joe Biden. When he was in, I remember he went in 72. He has no record of nothing. No record of nothing.
Other than supporting Senator Robert Byrd. Joe, isn't it amazing that some of the stuff that Joe Biden has said over the years that get most people kicked out of the United States, and yet I'm going to say this, guys. Hunter Biden just opened up a can of worms that he don't realize he opened up, and he's going to really get some grief over that. When he sat there and said that Putin was mad at him because of his connection to Soros, which, by the way, George Soros' son, Alex, I think he married Anthony Weiner's ex, and that was the one that was the one that was sex texting the girl in North Carolina. But Hunter,
that's crazy,
listen,
man.
I know this from a friend of mine that knows Patrick Burns and some of the others, and talking about the dark web, and said that the thing at Putin that launched all of this that people were not talking about was that Russia knew that there was a setup of America was participating. By the way, you know, what did Biden say? No, that's a lie. We would never do that. And then Trump comes in and says, we've been throwing money to China to investigate this stuff in the biolabs. Well, it was said years ago that Joe Biden was president and Putin found out that there was biolabs in Ukraine that was studying really bad stuff that made COVID look puny. And they was going to launch this on Russia. Because I'm going to say this. If Russia really wanted to bring an end to this war, do you think that Putin wouldn't use nuclear weapons when he could destroy Ukraine in a heartbeat?
Yeah.
And this is drug out. But I'm going to say this, guys. I'm going to say this. If Donald Trump was to say to Putin, if you'll sign this peace treaty, we'll give you Hunter Biden and George Soros, I guarantee you Putin would sign that tomorrow, because what just happened. They said that, and it's all over Facebook, that the co-conspirator that was indicted by the international law, and the pardon does not affect that, is Hunter Biden. And they said, well, Hunter ain't going to be taking no European visits, because in any of these countries, if his feet hit the dirt, they'll arrest him, and then he'll never see his way back to America. So if I was that interviewer, I'd say, Hunter, what if they do a GoFundMe and take up the money and buy you a trip to Europe? Would you go?
Oh, man.
You know, he ain't going to go. All he's going to do is talk that smack, and he just better be glad that his daddy signed that pardon. And why did he give him a blanket pardon? I'm going to give you a pardon from the day you was born to the day you die. And why am I doing that? Because you need it, dummy.
That's one thing that Harold asked. He said, does that pardon protect him in the future crimes?
Yeah,
Yep.
in the United States it does, but in the countries that don't respect the United States law, like we're international law, if he lands foot on any of those other countries, so I don't know. I don't know if somebody was to abduct Hunter and take him to one of these countries and drop him off, he might be in trouble.
What do you think, Ken?
I'm not sure about that one. But I don't know if they get they would start an international incident. That's the problem. And
Yeah,
all these guys get away with so much stuff, And as he was talking, one of the things that I wrote down was this guy brags a lot. He brags a
Yeah.
lot about how privileged he is and doesn't even know that he's privileged. He tried to make it look like he's normal. Being a middle class person he may be normal for him, but not most of the world. Middle class is middle class. The way that he's raised, the way that he says people coming around him. Only people in Delaware will come around him and hug him and make him uncles and aunts and all of that is because they want something from somebody. Most people want something from somebody if they don't know you, no matter what. If they know your father is inclined to be a congressman, a senator, or anything else, yeah, they're gonna offer you all kinds of things, and the other thing. So he's privileged. You can tell how he talked that he's privileged and he knows that he's not gonna get in any trouble. And most of these people don't get into trouble because of the face of America. That's what I call it. I've been calling it for years. It's the face of America. And that's why we don't have presidents going to prison for doing things, because they don't want the office to look bad, not necessarily the person. They don't want the office to look bad or the country to look bad because the president is doing something stupid.
He would sell out to anything for money, the country or anybody else. He has no integrity. There's no character. There's no good in him. He's a liar. His father's the devil. He's a drug addict. He is a miserable excuse of a human being. He is a miserable excuse, and he's trying to look legit. But it's a big joke up there. Those people, and you're not to call anybody a fool. I'm not calling them a fool, but if I would ever designate people talk and act like that, that's what they are. Because if they think they're fooling people, they're just fooling themselves. In fact, in a case, it would be justifiable saying the word fool, because a fool says there's no God, and he can say, I say there's a God, but if you don't act like it and do what you do, you can't believe there's a God because there's no fear in you. You don't have a fear of hell.
Yeah.
A lot of times you say, well, you can't call anybody a fool. Well, if a person's acting a certain way, and he seemed to have no fear in God, even though I wouldn't call anybody a fool for the simple reason God said don't call somebody a fool, but the actions would be right there. I mean, it's to an extreme. Sodom and Gomorrah was a wonderful area compared to now. That's what I mean. The top's ready to go off this thing. I would be surprised if the top doesn't go up and there's going to be some real big stuff happen here in 26. I would be surprised. I would question if we're believing a lie almost. Because I'm about that certain when things happen in 2026, because it's not going to be Donald Trump or any of them. They're doing a beautiful job. He's a great president. But what he's facing right there, he's not man enough to do. It's going to take God to do it, because this thing is so big about this money thing spread. It's not just in Minnesota and in California. It's probably all over. It's spread around all over. It's so big. Man is not smart enough to get to all the bottom of it. In fact, man can't stop the devil. It takes God to stop the devil. And this thing is so infiltrated with everything, only God's going to be able to break it.
Yeah.
And we're going to see it there. We're going to see that judgment, the Red Sea, just like Wendy put up there a while ago, Red Sea. And that's what it's being, because God said the Red Sea was nothing compared to what I'm going to do. And that's what we have to keep in our minds before this, because I tell you, I get so sick of this crap coming on, the people saying this junk and then they don't do anything. Man, either do it or get out. That's the way I feel.
That's it.
You don't have patience. It's time to say, hey, straighten out there. People say, oh, you're not walking in love. Problem is we show too much mercy and grace. It's time to kick a little butt. I mean, that's like Jesus did that very thing. And remember, people just don't know how to flow with God. There's a time, you know, that you get angry and you're in the spirit. Other time you're huggy, kissy. Nobody likes to get angry, but there's just times we have to act different ways because there's a way that you have to be in different circumstances. You don't know how you're to be except by the Holy Spirit.
Yep.
Sometimes you're acting and saying things a certain way. You think, my God, I blew it. But it was the very thing that God wanted, because he said, you don't know my ways and thoughts. In Isaiah 55:8-9. So we say and do some things. We think, man, that's going to get me in bad with everybody and everything. But hey, if it does, it does, as long as you know you're speaking what God wants you to say. You know, you're speaking his truth.
Well, you know, guys, you're not probably going to see too much longer before Mike Flynn will be much more involved in politics than he is now for what they did to him. But I really, really do believe what you're going to see, because I'm reminded of this. I don't know if y'all remember, but a while back, it's been several years ago, when Trump was running for president again, Newt Gingrich on Fox News tried to say something, and everybody just went quiet. And then they said, we're going to have to cut. And Newt Gingrich said, so you're telling me this name is off limits? Nobody can tell what's going on. Nobody can talk about the deep state. Nobody can mention, and this is what Newt said. Newt said, nobody can mention George Soros. He said, you're going to tell me that I got to be quiet. He said, bull crap. And now what you're getting ready to see is even where Tulsi Gabbard said, you know, that George Soros needs to be indicted for RICO and all this other stuff. And now they're talking about some of this other stuff. But I'm encouraged, because, see, he thinks because he got a pardon, he said, I can't believe it, my daddy pardoned me. He said, I was kind of shocked that after all this stuff that I did. He didn't deny any of it, because there's no need in denying it anymore. But he denied it the whole time when the charges were pending. But what's going to happen is, and I'm going to say this without a doubt, I really believe that if somebody goes to President Trump and says, what do you think that Putin really wants? These countries? Or do you think he really wants to prove his point that he said that the reason that he went into Ukraine? You've seen a few things popping on social media, but not a lot, because, see, the American people are going to go crazy, because it's like the word that I got years ago over COVID was Trump couldn't really come out and say why he thinks this happened. You know, that he knew that he knows that the United States is sending money to China to mess with this virus and so forth. And they lied about all of that. Okay. But what do you think is going to happen when America has to admit that? And I believe there's more. I believe there's a lot of truth to that Ukraine was participating, in other words, in biowarfare. And they might have looked at it for honest intentions, that we want a way to protect ourselves, so that if Russia does this, you notice that Ukraine didn't release this on Russia. But does anybody honestly think, matter of fact, they said that they are pathogens out there right now that have been incubated, that have like a 75+% lethal rate, and it could be released at any time. Yep. And why is America not saying that, you know what, you talking about disarming nuclear or whatever, why are we not dealing with this stuff? Just like Rand Paul just come out and said, we got $1.6 trillion worth of waste. Really, Rand? This has been going on way before the 90s. This is what the politicians do. They get elected, and it's kind of like, okay, what are you going to do for me so I can go back to my people and tell my county and my city and my state that I'm going to give them all this pork spending because I'm going to get a chunk of this. Everybody else is getting their piece of the pie. I want a piece of the pie too, so I can spread it out to these people. Just like all this stuff, you know, we spending $4.5 billion to Nigeria, and they letting the Muslims in there kill the Christians. And praise God that somebody said this needs to stop. And what did Trump say? I'll cut off all your funding. You want to get people to react? You tell somebody that we're going to cut you $4.5 billion out, and they'll tell them people, you better stand down because you hurt our country.
You know, one thing that can happen too right now, they discovered And this could upset everything that never in history. This is bigger than anything that's going on now or will go on. You know, they have the evidence now about the election back in 20, how it was crooked.
Oh
Now,
yeah,
Yeah.
if
2020.
that was crooked and they prove it, that would negate everything that so-called Biden did during that time from all the parts and everything. They're going to have to backtrack and backpedal everything. And that's going to turn everything completely around. I mean, because they have the evidence pretty much now. I don't know if it's all the way through, if they can carry it through to flip it over. But if they can prove that, it's not only going to people be going to jail, but the things that were proved and disapproved, then they can just, because he's filtering all that out now. And
That's
that
true.
very easily could happen where he would get another term period without any election because it was stolen from the man. And
That's
so
that.
it was
You
never
know that.
happened before, but they're going to have to make something new out of that. That's what I mean. Things are unprecedented. Things are happening now that never happened before. Like you're seeing it in the world, you're going to see it from God because it's all unprecedented. We're in the end of time. The end of the grace age is going to be here in a few years at most. I wouldn't set a date, but I'm sure it's in a few years. Biblical prophecy plus what we know in our spirit, man, and it's a
It's
sure
true.
time. So
If they win the midterms, Ed, you can count that in a done deal because they already talking about that. That
that's
all
right.
his executive orders and all his pardons, even the ones that he feels that he legitimately signed, would be void because they already saying in Georgia now there's something on Facebook circulating on social media that Michigan was stolen too. And if they get a couple of those and get that turnaround, just like when he's sitting here saying, "I got 80 million votes," well, guess what? They ain't enough votes, dummy, to end up with what Trump got
Well,
and what you got, and
No,
you got that.
yeah,
I
it was
said,
ridiculous.
But
It
but
was ridiculous.
what I'm going to say, what if the Republicans fill both houses next time around? What
Well,
if
we
they
got
fill both?
things to
If
do.
they win both houses again, we get to finish it.
"Oh
Right.
yeah, it's
See,
so.
that's
If
the
they
most
win the House
important.
and the Senate, there's not going to be no impeaching of Trump. And Trump's already. What did Trump say? Trump was right. What did Trump say? The election was stolen. What did
That's
Trump
right.
say just recently? He said Rudy Giuliani ought to be given his money back because they rigged
That's
that
right.
against Rudy.
And
Well,
Oh, they hurt
Sidney
him bad.
Powell, Sidney Powell signed in Georgia when she was right all along, and they convinced her to stay out of prison, same way they did Flynn. If you don't sign this and admit to what we're accusing you of, we're going to wreck your son's life. That ain't no way to
No.
do stuff. If you know what happened to morality, just like I said the other day when I said, why don't we have somebody running for president that can stand on what Jesus said and not cower? And then the Holy Spirit said immediately to me, "You had that," and they
Yeah.
killed him.
Yeah.
And what did Trump say? No doubt he probably would have been a president several elections away because of the connection. But what happened? They thought that they would shut the whole movement down, and then said, "We're going to make sure we get JD elected." And I
Right.
think what they need to do is so that the United States don't fall into Rome and Babylon and all the others, is just say that, hey, you know what? We're going to get to the bottom of this. And just like Fox News that said you can't talk about George Soros, Fox News that signed, and I looked at that was on Facebook when that guy was on there doing a video, an executive for Dominion, and talk about how you could flip the election and do all of this stuff. And then he said he didn't do it. And then they threatened to sue Fox News and all these other people, and they got them to settle for a lot of money. But now what they're finding out is that Dominion was cranked up and played a major role in Venezuela getting Maduro. So I'm sure Trump's probably like,
yes,
I don't
Yeah.
like how this whole thing played out.
You
yes,
know what's happening? I really believe we're going to win this time the Congress because I've said this a lot and I really stick by it yet. You know, Jesus' prayers being answered said, "Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." And what Trump is doing, the things of fairness, honesty, judgment, everything that's going on, everything in order for the people and the way God wants it. He has started something. This is a move of God, and I do not believe it's going to be stopped with them getting in and blocking him, making him a lame duck president. it's going to go all the way through. And then these things have been hidden. All this big stuff is coming out because that's what the word says. And this is the hour we believe the rapture is at hand, very close. So therefore, it's not going to go back because the people are jogging for it, because after the rapture of the church, it's going to come on much stronger. But that's why what's right now, the only thing that's standing between the Antichrist and now in tribulation is Trump. That's why he's in a prestigious position, because he's holding back the end times, whether God used him as the man, the David, to hold it back. And that's why he has went through there isn't a man that ever lived other than Christ himself that went through more. I don't even think Lincoln did. It's been the closest thing to it. And he's in that position. But that's what it is for the New World Order and everything. He's stopping it. But I personally, in my opinion, I believe that we are on a roll, God's roll. It's not the roll of Azusa Street. It's not the roll of a certain time, then another week, then another. No. This is going to be a straight through roll. It's got to go like that, and boom, rapture. And then I definitely believe that.
But it's so weird that it's kind of like God is, he's not telling a lot of people everything. It's just like there's something going on in the spiritual realm, like it's undecided. It's like there's an undecision going on right there.
Oh,
and it's a lot of things going on all at one time. I mean, I can't say that I know everything that's going on. I can't say that Jesus is coming on. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to be
exactly, nobody does. Jesus himself doesn't know.
I mean, I don't know. Only thing I know is, they talk about the signs and the visions in the skies. We've saw things in the skies. We actually have. But, you can feel in the spirit there is something going on. And there's a tide coming in. And there for so many years, we saw the bad guys win. I mean, the bad guys was constantly winning.
Yep.
And they was corrupting the good. They was doing a lot of evil things. And they said it's all right to rape kids. It's all right to rape little kids. It's all right to do drugs. It's all right to do evil things. It's all right to kill people. They don't care. They put you in jail a minute and get you out the next day. It's all right to be evil. That's what they're saying. And then you hear these new words that all the kids are saying, oh, that's sick, and that's this. And I mean, they're using words that is always it's opposite than good. It's like it's everywhere. And as you're seeing evil just abolishing the communities, things that you've never saw before, and they're claiming that that's right. They're claiming that that's right, and it's not right. We know it's not right. I mean, the word of God tells us not right, and common sense tells you it's not right. I mean, come on, guys.
That's where we're going to rise up and take it. None of this churchy mercy type stuff. I mean, you got to be this idea of just falling down, laying down, and being so humble about everything and so loving about everything. We walk in love, but when we're fighting the enemy, you don't go out to lovey-dovey talk. When the Lord sent them out there and they had battles at the time past, they were knocking heads off, cutting heads off in war. I mean, it's a time for everything. You have a sword in one hand and a building hand, but the other hand, a brick in the other hand to build, just like when he built the wall back there in the scripture. People have with God, they have just a lovey thing with God, and I can do anything, and he's going to forgive me. I won't go to hell. He loves everybody, no matter what attitude, and it's not that way. He loves everybody, which is true, but the bottom line, he has expectations for us too, and if we're disobedient, well, he tells us that very simply about heaven and hell and being obedient and following me. Those that obey me, he says, they're with me. If they don't, they aren't. In other words, that's simple. We're either going to obey God and do what he says, or we're going to suffer the consequences. Yeah. So we read.
Go ahead, Mike. What are you trying to say?
No, I was just going to say, guys, look, the word of God says he desires that not one would perish, that all would have an everlasting life. He realizes, just like in the days of Moses, when Moses went up to the top of the temple, up to the top of the mountain Sinai to get the tablets, he come back and they've created a golden idol. And what does God say? I'm going to destroy all of them, Moses, not for my faithfulness. Spare them, O Lord. And he says, okay, for those that will follow you and do right, come over here. And for those that are going to follow the false idol, the golden calf, over here. And then the earth swallowed them up. I'm sure a lot of people was like, boy, that's
exactly. And that's where we're at right now, Mike.
Yeah.
We're at the thing right now prophetically. God has said this. He said, you're either going to come to me or that's it for them. We are at that
Exactly.
state right now. We are at that state right now. That's exactly right.
Well, exactly. And I think that as long as people, just like the Charlie Kirk thing, I remember in that script on The Chosen, and the disciple says to Jesus, but why him? Why not that one? Why him? And Jesus said, well, for God's glory, because you don't understand, not now, but you will at a later date. And then Jesus just wept because the person meant so much to him. But he didn't question. He didn't say, but God. And see, the truth of the matter is, when somebody gets took out like that, even with Charlie, I'm sure a lot of people probably say, man, he's going to be a whole lot better off. I'm just thinking about my mom and dad. Yes, I miss them. But all that mess with COVID and all those people that lost their life, and I'm going to tell you this, Tulsi Gabbard's going to find out that when all this is said and done, that this was just as much a desire to get rid of a certain individual, the way all of these cards played. And they can say what they want to, but it's just like if Trump would have come out. I mean, look, they was impeaching this man when they had rumors, not just rumors, they had facts that told them that this has been released. And then in Missouri, the guys in the U.S. Senate that used to be Attorney General for Missouri, Eric Smith, sued them for like $20 billion, and he won because what did China do? They didn't stop. They didn't stop the external flights, but they didn't allow anybody to fly inside. But they let the people go outside the country on flights. But yet they kept everybody in rooms and in locked doors and so forth in China because they realized what they'd done. Now, do you think China really cares that they lost 1 million people when hundreds of millions of people probably lost their life? And they look at it, okay, I mean, this is call it what you want, but I look at it as an act of war. And so with this stuff going on, that Hunter just let the cat out of the bag, because I knew of this that was going on, but I didn't know his name was tied to it. And then he goes, well, Putin falsely accused me of Soros and doing this in Ukraine. Well, look, it was all over social media that Russia had reason to believe that they were biolabs. I know a lot of people have been talking about that for a long time, but I never heard the Biden name. But you know what? It makes all the sense in the world, don't it? Because what did I say about the cartel? He did just
guys,
like the people here.
We've been on here for 2 hours, so we're going to start slowing this down a little bit. We've been on here for a minute, but it's been awesome tonight to be on here with you guys. I hope you guys had an awesome Christmas. The New Year's is right around the corner, and wow, we've had a ride for this year. I don't know what's coming in next year. We just pray that it's better than this one, right? So it's God's doing some amazing things.
Well, send something to that podcaster, Stan, and tell him, say, man, if you get another interview with the old dummy, boy, you hit a goal, you hit a grand slam, you hit one in every inning of a 9-inning game.
I think he was surprised that the dude came on his show. He's like, man, it's kind of like, this is kind of like a 1 in a million deal. Yeah, bring him on here.
Well, for the next week, Stan, see if you can find the part. On the interview, you can find Afghanistan, and also, let's see, what was other than Afghanistan, and then the invasion of the border. Get those two topics, and you'll love it, because Hunter said that was one of the worst things he's ever seen in a president's administration.
I'm going to say this. Sorry about the cussing and stuff. I didn't know what all was going to come off. I know he had it in his mouth. I know the other guy had it in his mouth also. So I was hoping it wasn't so bad, but it blew up, and sorry about that. But anyway, we got to hear some entertaining stuff. That's what we're talking about here, is politics and things that goes on in politics. We talk about Christian topics and things about God, but every once in a while we'll watch a video about these politics talking their crazy stuff just to show you exactly what's going on. And you get to see Hunter Biden for what he is. I mean, that's just the way it is. You get to see what it's all about right there. And I mean, the dude lied right in everybody's face. So you kind of see that, and you're kind of noticing that he might be on something there. I mean, we don't know.
Well, he's a master of the 4-letter word, and we're going to be the master of the 5-letter word. We'll start with the word clown or idiot. That's 2 good ones right there. But he's the master of the 4-letter word. The reason he uses those is his vocabulary. He can't comprehend anything more than 4 letters.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that, you know, I just noticed that he's on. He could be. He act like he was on something. And the second of all, I was seeing that he came on there to cover some stuff up, which everybody could tell that he wasn't telling the truth. I mean, even a blind monkey with one leg would tell that he wasn't telling the truth just by listening to him. And it was just really weird stuff. So, but anyway, it was good to see. I've never got to see all of it. But it kind of opens your eyes for what's going on there. And it was entertaining on top of it. So I mean, it's a win-win. But anyway, sorry about the words coming out of their mouth. I mean, I didn't know that. But anyway, you get to hear some of that, and I hope you guys had an awesome Christmas. And we're going to be coming on here next Friday. That's going to be over after New Year's, I think. But it was good, and I want to thank every one of these guys for being on here tonight for sure.
Well, Pastor Stan, it's been warm down here, but I'm sure Hunter had a white Christmas.
He always has a white Christmas. Yeah. But anyway, it's good to have you guys on here, and we will see you guys next week. God bless you.
Amen.
God bless.
Have an awesome New Year's and stay out of trouble. I'll tell everybody to stay out of trouble. Have an awesome New Year's, and God bless you, and may the next year be blessed. God bless every single one of you.
All right.